Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nemmer of Mundo Albiceleste.com. I am joined by none other than the one, the only, Sebastian Garcia. Seba, how are you today?
Hi, Roy. Thanks for having me here. Always a pleasure. Today is really, really cold in Argentina. It's a good thing that the game is not going to be here in Buenos Aires or Montevideo because it's really, really cold. But yeah, you can see I have like 3 layers of clothes, but
Yeah.
nothing can stop me from being here.
No, good to have you. It's always fun. You're cold in Buenos Aires. It's getting kind of hot here in Canada, to be honest. It's getting pretty hot. So we're on different sides of the hemisphere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're in the summer. It's more often than not. It's cold in Canada and hot in Buenos Aires. Today
Yeah,
is the opposite.
today it's
I,
the
I,
opposite,
I, I
exactly.
let you win this one. I let you win this one.
Thank you. There you go. Excellent. I need the win, Seba. I need the win.
Yeah, I know.
Talking about needing the wins, Argentina need a win on Friday tomorrow as we play Uruguay, and we were kind of talking off air about the rivalry and everything. Anything that stands out for you in the past in terms of the history?
Yeah, well, this is a. If we're gonna talk about history between Argentina and Uruguay, probably we'll spend the whole evening. Just the one thing that I think it's very important for everybody to know because sometimes this rivalry is overshadowed by Argentina Brazil or other big rivalries around the world, but this one is the one that's been played the most. There's no other encounter between national teams that has been played the most more than this one. We're almost on the verge of reaching the 200 matches between the two. The first one was in 1902. So there's a lot of history here. Obviously, we're talking about the two national teams that won the most Copa
Yeah.
America titles between them. Uruguay, surprisingly for a lot of people, they have more titles than Argentina and Brazil. They recently went over Argentina with their most recent Copa America win, which happened here in Argentina in
10 years ago.
2011. Yeah, you remember that? Uh, and yeah, so they have 15, we have 14. Maybe with this one, we can get even once again. But yeah, there's a lot of lot of history. These two have been the kings of Copa America for a long, long time, and every time we play, something happens. It's not a regular fixture for any of these teams.
No, and it's something I tweeted about this. I believe it was yesterday. I said Argentina, Uruguay. It's you have that. Excuse the term. I said that shithousery, where
Yeah,
Suarez is gonna do something, or Otamendi, or someone always does something. I remember a couple of years ago it was Diego Lugano and Rodriguez. It's the rivalry, and for a lot of people, like you mentioned, for a lot of people that maybe don't know this, the big Argentina's big rival in South America is not necessarily Brazil, at least not historically, because historically it's been Uruguay.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
Of course, with Brazil, with them being five-time World Cup winners, Argentina winning two as well. Uruguay also have two, but it's always Uruguay have been a bit behind. There were so many years with them failing to reach a World Cup, and obviously Brazil took it to a different level. They really uh, they were really the highest standard for so many years in world football, and Argentina was able to cope with Brazil and compete with them, even though it's a far smaller country um, with a population that is not even a third of Brazil, or probably around a third of Brazil. But even then, Argentina manages to compete on an even level with Brazil, and Uruguay do the same with Argentina because they only have a country with a 3 million population. But the 11 players that they put on the field, they're gonna die for the cause. They're gonna
yeah,
go for it, and you see big clubs around the world. They have an Uruguayan in their ranks. I
hmm
mean, you see Suarez just won the league in
with
Spain.
Atletico.
With Atletico, you see Cavani playing for none other than Manchester
United.
United, but used to be playing for PSG, winning the league there. So it's not a coincidence. Even in South America, at the club level, Flamengo won the Copa Libertadores a couple of years ago with Georgian de Arrascaeta. It's not a very well-known name, but the talent is there. Uruguay are always a threat. They can really bring it when it
Yeah.
matters. So Argentina need to be really careful. And to me, he's not the rival that I would be like to that I would like to be facing right now. I would have preferred an easier one, but at the
Mhm.
same time, this gives you like the double-edged sword, because if you win it, that's
A,
that's
a big confidence booster.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and it gives you one thing that is key. In this moment is the not only the confidence, but you will silence the critics because they're getting to the team. They're really um, firing on Scaloni, and aiming at them with all sorts of
Hmm.
criticism, and you need that to stop. And a win against Uruguay will do that. Will definitely do that, and
Yeah.
obviously provide you with a bit of an easier path to the quarterfinals. Because let's face it, we all see how the competition has been structured and the rules, and the two groups of five with four teams advancing, and you don't see Argentina being the fifth team in the group. You see Bolivia there. You see, you know,
Bolivia, pretty
I,
much. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think Chile or Paraguay or Uruguay could be seen as a potential fifth place team.
Yeah.
Bolivia had a bit of a great start against Paraguay, but then they went down to 10 men and they were blown away by Paraguay. So
Yeah.
as I was saying, you need to finish as high as possible to try and avoid Brazil in the earlier stages. So those are the things that a win against Uruguay will give you. But as I was saying at the beginning, this is not the team that I would like to be facing right now. I would have preferred Paraguay or
Or Bolivia.
well, Bolivia, obviously. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is for the better if we
It
manage.
it could be, and and obviously I agree with you. I would have preferred to have played Bolivia, maybe not Paraguay because I feel like they're just coming off that high. They'll come from behind win versus Bolivia. Certainly Bolivia, but like you said, it could be double edged. If you get the win versus Uruguay, that's the confidence that they would need, I think, to go on and potentially win the group, or at least win the rest of their matches in the group. If they win, like you said, maybe relieve some of the pressure on them, because you could tell the pressure is maybe starting to get a little bit to the players or Scaloni as well. You sense it, obviously. But at the end of the day, you play against whoever you're supposed to play. And for us, the on paper the easiest team, Bolivia, we're facing them last. And regarding Uruguay, I mean, this is a very, very good question here from MN. He says, but are Uruguay on good form right now? Because I don't think any South American team aside from Brazil is actually on good form or in good form.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point. Uruguay have been struggling in the last double round of fixtures. They haven't been setting the world alight precisely. They have been missing Cavani, which is any team that has Cavani and he's not able to play is gonna suffer. But yeah, that's on the one hand, but on the other hand, they are a bit more rested than Argentina. They haven't played in the first round of fixtures, so between the double qualifiers and now they had one more week to rest. So we should be ready for a very physical
Yeah.
game, as Sujatro is saying here. Thank you, Sujatro, for the comment. Hello, wherever you are in the world. It's
Yes.
always a pleasure to read all these comments and to be in company with all of you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you everyone for joining us. This was kind of, I won't say last second or last minute, because we had an idea we were going to do this, but we weren't entirely sure what time. So still, thank you for joining. I know I saw a couple of people, I think from Bangladesh, one, from the United States and everything. So thank you guys for joining us. And this is a big match for us, for Argentina, because we have to win this. Anything but a win. Yes, technically Argentina could possibly afford a draw and the point, but I really think anything other than a win will really start to get to the players, because then you're facing Paraguay, who could be in even better form than they are now, and you don't want to go into the Bolivia match knowing that that's the one game that you absolutely have to win, because that could easily go back and backfire against you. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Just keep posting questions for us. That would be great.
Well, there was one here, actually. There was one here. This is for you, Seba, because you weren't here last time around. What did Seba think of the game against Chile? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I had a little I left that game with a few questions that are unanswered so far, but I didn't like the setup initially. I don't like what apparently is going to happen again tomorrow. This 4-3-3. We will talk about it in a little while to see how the team is going to shape for tomorrow against Uruguay. But going back to the question and going back to Chile, the worrying signs that we've been mentioning with Roy in previous videos, that we cannot close games, that we have this inability. Well, I hope it's just a phase, but we are going through this stage in which we're showing some inability to close games we're winning. We wasted a 2-goal lead in Colombia. We were up against Chile 1-0 in the qualifiers. Then again, here. And it's happening without the rivals pressuring us that much. It's not like we're under the weather, or our keeper is saving shots from everywhere or all the time. It's not. If I tell you to count how many scoring chances Chile and Colombia have had in the 3 games combined, maybe you reach a hand, and you don't reach 2 hands, I think, if you count them all. So that's my take from the game. I'm not necessarily upset about or disappointed about the way we play. I think there's a lot of adjustments to be made, but the worrying signs are those that it seems like when Scaloni makes substitutions, the team loses a little bit. It's not for the benefit of the team whenever he makes substitutions. I don't think I have agreed with probably 80% of the changes that he made, but I'm still giving him my support, some credit, and another thing is all of the goals we got score on were from set pieces. Says Rontangable. Sorry for the pronunciation. Yeah, and also I would add that 3 of the 4 goals that we scored were also coming from set piece. Yeah. So from set piece situations, except for the Paredes goal in Colombia, all the other 3 were from set pieces. So those are things that I would like to see improve. But I think the most important thing is that Argentina are creating chances. We are dominating the game at times, and we are putting our rivals under pressure. And we're also, it has to be mentioned, we're also facing goalkeepers that seem to be having a great night whenever they face us. It's not to make an excuse, but it's a reality. What Ospina did in Colombia was great. And Bravo the other day had a couple of amazing saves. Yes. Yeah. So, that's my take on the game against Chile. And what worries me is exactly this. You need to have more confidence. You need to be able to close the game when you're leading. And to play against Uruguay is probably not what the doctor has ordered. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. It's. I agree. Obviously, for those that were wondering, Seba was not there last time when we did the post game, and even myself, we had delayed it by 1 day. But I agree. We've come up against goalkeepers that have pulled off some incredible saves, but it is worrying that we've only had 1 goal, like you mentioned, Seba, that we've only managed 1 goal from open play. The rest have been a penalty from Leo, a corner kick, a free kick by Romero, the header, and then the free kick by Messi again. So nothing aside from Paredes, and it's an issue because it's chances that we should be scoring. It's chances that we should be putting away. Lautaro in the first half versus Chile. Nicolas Gonzalez easily could have had a hat trick. It is worrying, but Scaloni does seem to be sticking with almost or pretty much the same 11. If that's something you should get into.
Yeah. I've heard that Romero will make a comeback from injury.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. I'm only a little bit worried about whether they're rushing him into play before a complete recovery, but I trust their judgment. So if it's good to go, he's going to replace Martinez Cuarta. The rest of the team, you're seeing it there. I hope they really not doubting between Gonzalez and Di Maria. I hope they stick with Gonzalez. But yeah, he had a lot of Nico Gonzalez had a lot of movement. He did a lot for the team. He put himself in open positions. It's not that chances were falling to him by
mistake,
or by coincidence.
Yeah.
It was because he was losing his markers. He was opening up, running into space, showing himself up for his teammates. And yeah, he was unlucky. He couldn't finish any of the chances that were created. But I will still prefer him ahead of Di Maria, of course.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
that is no secret for anyone that's been watching the videos since we started. Seba's not the biggest Di Maria fan. I'm not the biggest Di Maria fan, but I know Seba is more demanding. Let's say much more demanding than I am when it comes to Di Maria.
Yeah.
So look, and I agree. At least with Gonzalez, with Nicolas, he was getting into position. Yes, he wasn't scoring and he missed, which ultimately is bad. But at least he was making the runs and getting into the penalty area to get the opportunities. Eventually, or hopefully, the goals will come. And hopefully maybe Di Maria doesn't necessarily start. One player, and we see the comment here from Eugene, he says Acuna should start. So what did you think? Because obviously this is something we spoke about a couple of times. What did you think about Tagliafico versus Chile? Would you stick with Nicolas or would you go with your boy, Marcos Acuna?
Yeah, you know that I love Acuna. But yeah, I think on form, he's doing better than Tagliafico lately, both for club. I mean, Tagliafico, even if he does great, he plays at an inferior league in like the Eredivisie is not comparable in terms of what you're facing, the level of the opponents that you have in La Liga. So, but at club level, they're both doing really, really great. But when it comes to the national team, what I've seen from them, I think Acuna is providing us with more more stability and more seriousness, so to speak. He's for a game like this, heated rivalry. I would prefer someone like Acuna. Is more physical, more serious about things, more careful on the ball and off the ball. What we've seen from Tagliafico, even though I like Tagliafico a lot, he was a bit of a liability in that moment where he kicked Arturo Vidal. I don't think he saw him, but that in itself, it's a mistake. He should be aware of what's going on around him, and I think he should have been a little bit more careful. But aside from that, I didn't think he provided Argentina with enough options going up on the left or securing the left flank. I think Acuna should start, but only on the basis of their latest performance, and especially considering the rival.
Again, and we always kind of, or lately we've been seeing eye to eye, but I agree. I think again, I mentioned it before. I like Tagliafico, but lately I haven't necessarily been impressed. Acuna's coming off a pretty good season with Sevilla, and I would much rather see Acuna. I feel like Acuna is more of a fighter, I guess, maybe more physical than Tagliafico. And in a match versus Uruguay, I think that's someone that you need, especially moving forward. I think he helps a lot more in attack than Tagliafico. I don't want to single out Tagliafico for the penalty on Vidal because I thought that was maybe a collective mistake by him and Otamendi as well, which kind of led to the penalty in general. so I'm not going to blame him too much. But I think I've seen enough of Tagliafico in the past three, four games to kind of say, okay, maybe drop him for the time being and go with Acuna, because it's not as if we don't have other options. I mean, we do, obviously,
Of course.
Acuna, and he's done pretty well when he played versus, I believe he started versus Colombia in Barranquilla. So, it's not like he's a bad option to have.
To be fair on Tagliafico, he did very well to even be able to reach that point in the Chile counterattack, and he complicated. I think it was Vargas who hit the shot that Emi did very well. Yeah, he did very well to save that. And then on the rebound, Tagliafico made the mistake and committed the foul. But the tackle, or even if it wasn't a clear tackle, at least he didn't allow Vargas to take a shot, a very open shot or easy shot. So he did very well covering that and coming back. I think it was, as you said, it was a collective mistake, which started with Montiel really up the field without actually pressuring the player that was on the ball. And then Martinez Cuarta, I think he was around the midfield line, and he was easily put out of contention by Chile. Yeah. And then from then, Otamendi not running pretty... how you call it? He was running against the sense of the play, so the ball went through his back, and that was it. I mean, it was a team mistake.
It was a team mistake.
Yeah, the team should have done better.
Yeah, and you mentioned one by Tagliafico. There was actually another one on Vidal when it was 1-1, where Tagliafico made that tackle. He completely got the ball. It was on the edge of the penalty area, really on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah.
He did very, very well to get that. So it's not as if Tagliafico's playing bad. He's just, I personally think his form has dipped a little bit, at least in the past couple of matches. So, and Acuna's rested, and it's been a long season for them both. Yeah. So it's not like Acuna's bad, or it's not like Tagliafico's been horrible either. But if you have that choice where you could kind of switch it up, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe Scaloni sees Tagliafico better suited for a 4-3-3 and thinks of Acuna when he wants to have wingbacks. Maybe try 3 at the back and 2 wingbacks, whatever. I think Acuna will be better than Tagliafico in any formation, but there's nothing wrong liking one player more than the other. But there you go. It's it's the manager's decision.
That's it. At the end of the day, obviously, we're speculating and we're giving our opinions. And I see everyone in the chat, which I love. I know you love it too, but everyone's giving their opinions. That's good. Yeah. Keep them coming. And one opinion here, which I spoke about a couple of videos ago. So Ruslan says, we need 2 phase defense line. We need a perfect defensive midfielder like Mascherano. And I think that you sense it, because as good as Paredes is in midfield, as good as he is on the ball, I'm not trying to compare him to Mascherano, obviously not. But you could tell he's more comfortable moving forward than staying back. And similar to maybe, I want to say I mentioned this, but Germany versus France, you could tell when you're watching Germany, yes, they have Kroos and Gundogan, but they don't have a pure defensive midfielder like Kante does for France, or like we did with Mascherano. And I feel like you need that safety blanket with this team, with this Argentina team, because if you had a Mascherano or maybe even a Biglia at one point, or someone like a Rodrigo, like a Brania, or anyone, Guiñazú, you need that pure defensive midfielder to kind of help out the defense. And I'm not blaming Paredes, because he's being put in that position, and I don't think that's where he excels the most.
Yeah, this is a very good point, and this is a hot argument and a hot debate every TV show and every group of friends that I have a couple of WhatsApp groups, and everybody is talking about this. And the word in the phrase in Spanish is "no podemos jugar sin un cinco." We cannot play without a number 5. A number 5 is the traditional holding midfielder, the one that it's not worried about joining in the attack. It's more worried about playing next to the central defenders, covering up on to the right or the left when the other midfielders go up. I think it's a very valid point. I think it's more what we are used to be seeing when we see Argentina, but it's also what the manager is not very sold on. He's trying something different, and I respect that. The only thing is that when we play four at the back, like we did um, in the last game, you could feel it a lot more, that lack of a true and proper number five, right? Um, it's not necessarily that you need, like every winning team in the world needs it. You can find other ways to play, and you can probably. Scaloni doesn't like anybody to play on that role. There was one of the comments mentioning Guido. Guido had a great season for Betis. He could do that job. But at the moment, Scaloni doesn't seem to be inclined to play somebody in that position. Maybe that will be the answer to be able to close some of these games that we are winning and we're not able to. I really respect the way that Scaloni is trying to play and the message that he's sending. He wants ball playing midfielders. He wants everybody to be able from midfield to reach the opposing area. Paredes has a very, very wonderful right foot in him, so he can score from long distance. Maybe that's another thing that Scaloni sees in him. But then if you are playing without that kind of number five, as we call it, central midfielder, then I think he needs more backup. The team needs a little bit more of a support from the back, and we haven't seen that in the previous games. That to me, that's probably the major adjustment that I will be making to the team. Play three at the back, and so you'll have more liberty in the middle, but you need two wingbacks to join in the midfield to give the team more width and to give the central midfielders more help. But yeah, it's a good point. It's just a matter of decisions and what the manager wants to do. I think we have a very good player in Guido to play in that role. It's just a matter of when Scaloni is deciding to do that.
No, exactly. And if we look at this, so Rafael writes, to add to your points about Guido and Molina deserve a chance. Guido will give the physicality in midfield, and Molina will be very helpful on the right wing. And again, if you want to solidify that midfield or help out the midfield, if you play those wing backs, you could play Acuna on the left, and here you could play Molina on the right. And then that does help out Paredes a little bit, because now everything is on Paredes. And something that you mentioned, well, maybe Scaloni likes Paredes because he offers you that shot from distance, right, from outside the penalty area. But we haven't seen that from Paredes. And again, I'm not saying I want him to shoot every opportunity he gets, but it feels like he's not being used 100% when moving forward, and his natural position is not staying back. And obviously, I've seen him. Maybe you have as well. A couple of people comparing him to Fernando Redondo from all those years ago. For me, Redondo was a different breed, a different talent, a different
you can't
everything.
compare. Yeah,
you can't. I like Paredes, nothing against him, but you can't compare him to someone like Redondo. And Paredes is not at that level, at least not yet. So maybe putting someone like Guido next to him, or maybe even Nicolas Dominguez, maybe having him there as well, just to change it around. Obviously, there were some people asking here, well, if fitness is an issue, what do you do with Lo Celso? Who's going to replace Lo Celso? Well, Dominguez is not a bad player either, not a bad replacement if you don't want to go with that pure, let's say, defensive-minded player like Guido Rodriguez. So Scaloni does have the options if he wants to switch up the formations with 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, or keep it 4-4-2. But something has to give, and something has to be tweaked a little bit, because it's not working. And it's not just that we're missing chances, but we're letting in silly chances.
Yeah, you could say that, but you could also make a very strong point about Argentina actually and really deserving to win all 3 of the last games. We haven't gotten the 3 points in any of those, but I don't think anybody could argue against Argentina winning any of those 3 games. So the manager is seeing that maybe the ball is not going in, but the other things are there, and it's just a matter of putting away the chances. And he likes what he sees. And to be fair, I like what I see for um, long periods of the game, but we're not closing the games. That's I think he just needs that. He needs one game to get everything right, even the substitutions. Maybe he needs to start considering putting someone to hold on to the lead, putting someone on a defensive midfielder role to
Yeah.
help out. But I don't think it's just like we are being terrible so far. I don't
No, no,
think it
no.
is.
No, at all. And this is exactly it. So Ruslan's point says, I see some kind of lack of confidence in the Argentina team, which would be possible through winning a single match. Positive thing is they are unbeaten over a long time. Don't lose hope. And it's true, right? Argentina's last
Yeah.
defeat, if I'm not mistaken, was the Copa 2 years ago versus
Mhm.
Brazil. So we are undefeated. They are undefeated. And something you mentioned, Seba, and I know we spoke about it before, but you said the inability of closing down games, right? And holding on to the lead, which is very surprising because Argentina's dip is always in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half. And when you look at Scaloni's staff, if you look at Walter Samuel or Roberto Ayala, these were two leaders. These were leaders on the pitch. These were vocal leaders. And maybe Scaloni wasn't. Maybe Scaloni, his personality is not that natural type of leader because, as a player, he
He,
didn't really stand out.
he was more of a loose cannon. He was
Yeah,
an enforcer,
exactly.
a crazy guy.
Exactly, but you have two, or you have Ayala, who's played over 100 matches for Argentina, captained Argentina at several tournaments. So, and he's part of the coaching staff, and it's this is what I don't understand because you have Ayala, you have Samuel, who were very good, defenders, very good players, some of the best of their generation, and you have an Argentina team that's struggling to defend and that lacking that confidence, and it's kind of ironic because I truly feel if they could just hold on to the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, they could close down these games and
Yeah.
just get that extra goal.
Now you said something that actually gives me a bit of a chills because these guys that you mentioned are part of generations of Argentina players that haven't
Mhm.
won anything. We were on the verge of winning with Ayala. You remember Copa America
Yeah.
in 2007?
Yeah.
That was bad. He even scored an own goal. It's nothing to do with this. Nothing to do. I'm just playing a game. Just playing a little game here. We were winning against Germany in the World Cup in 2006 with Ayala scoring in that game, and then we couldn't close it. I just hope it's not a pattern. I just hope it has nothing to do. Yeah, Aymar as well. Sha Fitness is mentioning Aymar as well. Is very close to
The team.
Scaloni. I really like him. I like all of them, but I just hope it's not a mental thing. It's not a block that is there. I just hope we can get it over the line
Uh,
soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really hope so. And I feel like the mental block is maybe more from the players because if you look at the team, aside from Messi, aside from Otamendi, there's no real veterans on this team. Yes, Di Maria, sure, and Agüero, but Agüero hasn't really played yet. So the two starters on the team, the only two veterans on the team are Messi and Otamendi.
Yeah,
Martinez has played 3 games. Tagliafico's played maybe 20 games now for the national team. So he's becoming one of those leaders or veterans. Cristian Romero's played 2 matches.
yeah.
Lisandro Martinez played one. Montiel a couple. So
Lautaro has something like 25. I think tomorrow is going to be
now,
his 25th. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a very good point. And that's what I really have only good things to say about Scaloni in that sense, because he really took on the challenge of starting a transition.
Mhm.
Because previous managers, they were promising about making a transition, move on to the next generation, betting some of the players, of the up and coming players, and they always went back to the old players, the old guns. And particularly Sampaoli really disappointed me. He was, I felt like he was going to take no prisoners, change everything, and go with the unknown players. But I wasn't expecting the unknown players to be the unknown players that he picked. I was hoping for another thing, but if you look at it, he didn't leave. He didn't left. Sorry, he didn't um,
Select.
said. Yeah, well, he didn't leave any new players being more experienced under him because he wasn't trying. He wasn't.
Mhm.
And you look at Scaloni, and you just mentioned a few players. It's they started playing for Argentina when he called them up. Like Lautaro was um, ignored by Sampaoli, and now he's the first choice as number 9, and he's gonna be great for Argentina. He already is showing promise, scoring a lot of goals. He has a better goal scoring average than Higuain for the national team. So
Are you just
that's
saying that
very.
because I'm wearing an Higuain shirt?
No, no, I don't see what's on the back of the shirt. It's
It's
the
a
number
number
9.
9.
It could be
It's a number
Lautaro's.
9.
It
Right?
could be Lautaro's.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
But but Agüero is wearing number 9 in this Copa, right? I think so.
I believe he is. Yeah.
I think. I think. But anyway, I'm just saying that Scaloni, um, when he leaves, and in the future, you're gonna see a lot of players that he's been picking being established national team players for a long time, and it was him who gave them the opportunity. Emiliano Martinez, obviously, some of these players put themselves there with their own great performances. I mean,
Yeah.
Romero. Look at Romero, what he did for Atalanta, best defender in Serie A, and now obviously he's asking for to be selected. It's not like Scaloni discovered him, but he you have to give him credit because he called him instead of sticking with old players. Um, so it's an interesting thing because we are actually seeing a transition. The ball as
The
giving
the
getting
entire
some
midfield.
matches. Yeah, the entire midfield. Yeah. So yeah, and Sampaoli
It,
tried too many plays in a short time. Not as many as Diego, yes,
God bless
but
his
yeah,
soul. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But Diego did better than Sampaoli. I
Diego
have,
Diego
yeah,
went to a quarterfinal of a World Cup.
yeah, yeah. Diego did better.
Sampaoli, he did good. He did good. We can't say anything bad about Diego. Never at all.
No, 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 no.
But it's true. No, but all kidding aside, Scaloni took on an impossible job. He took on a job that no one wanted, and yes, maybe Emiliano Martinez is starting now because Armani kept testing positive for COVID. Maybe if Armani did not have COVID, it would still be Armani as a goalkeeper. Sure, but other than that, like you said, okay, Romero was due to performances, but Montiel before was never really getting selected. Tagliafico, that was Sampaoli, but the midfield, Nicolas Gonzalez, Lautaro Martinez, even Lucas Ocampos, who's not in the team.
Yeah,
That's all. That's all Scaloni. He's tried a couple of players, Giovanni Simeone, and a couple of others. But if you look at this team now, you have Emiliano Martinez, Cristian Romero, you have Montiel, Paredes, Lo Celso, De Paul, Lautaro, and Nicolas. So you have 8 of the 11 players that have kind of been all selected or given their debut by Scaloni,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
something that is impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe they were not around when Sampaoli was there because they were too young or just coming up. But you have to give him credit because he's selecting them. Unlike previous managers who all went with the same players, it was just a change of management and that's it. It never a change of players when you really need it. And he's not afraid to be making these calls. So I hope it works. I really hope it works. Obviously, because we would all like Argentina to win something,
Yeah.
but also because he's someone that is trying, somebody who took on an impossible job, as you said, and a job that nobody liked, nobody wanted. So um,
No.
I wouldn't have chosen Scaloni. I think everybody would agree. He never had any experience, not even at the club level, but he knows what it is to be in the national team, and he's well surrounded. He's not making too many stupid decisions. Maybe a few, but not too many. And hopefully,
Yeah.
it will go. It will go well
It,
for him.
I hope so. We have a comment. There's actually a friend of mine. He's Brazilian by birth, Brazilian. He said the biggest issue in my view is that Argentina has always been overhyped for the fact of having individually good players, but as a team they aren't cohesive as they should. You guys have shown my comment. So,
Fala Paulinho, tudo bem? Obrigado pela mensagem. I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but you know what? Yeah, this is more in recent years, maybe a couple of decades now. But if you look at it, 86 was the opposite of what he's saying, and that was the year we won the World Cup. And then 2014, I think we had both. We had the combination of both. That's why we were so good, and that's why we deserved to win the World Cup. We couldn't, because football is football. We play that game 10 times, we win it 8 times. It wasn't to be, but that was a perfect combination of very good individual players and a fantastic team who played collectively really, really great at times. And we were doing what we had to do throughout the tournament. We were getting better throughout the tournament, and I actually think we peaked in the final. We played the best in that tournament. But apart from that exception, I think I agree with that. That is what we're seeing. Like, for example, with Italy in the Euros, I've been really impressed, because maybe they don't have the names that other national teams have in Europe, but they are playing amazing. Everybody knows what they have to do. They play for each other. They also have talent. I mean, I would kill to have a player like Lorenzo Insigne playing for Argentina. He's from Napoli. He's almost Argentine. So it's a shame that he started playing for Italy and we can't give him a passport. But I mean, he's Argentine in my heart. I love him. But see what I mean? I mean, they have good players in every line, but you wouldn't say that they have world-class players in every part of the field, in every position. But they compete. They're playing exciting football now because they play as a team, and that is something that Argentina we're lacking at the moment. Hopefully, it's 1 year until the World Cup, 1.5 years. If we can keep this core together and we go through another World Cup qualifiers and the Copa America, maybe we peak at the right time this time.
It's true, and every tournament that Argentina, or realistically speaking, yeah. Well, there you go, Paulo. That was for you, Johnny. Johnny has
fantastic, Johnny. Fantastic.
But it is true in the sense of every time Argentina has gone to a tournament as the heavy favorites, it's been, I won't say a failure, but it hasn't gone down very well. 1998, maybe outside favorites, still a very, very good team. Quarterfinals. 2002, we're not even going to discuss. 2006, I think, was arguably the most perfectly balanced Argentina team we've had in a long, long time. Unlucky against Germany. 2010, we had individually, 2010, on paper, individually, we had the best attack.
Yeah.
You had Messi, Aguero, Tevez, Higuain, Di Maria, even Veron, who is still playing.
Diego Milito as well.
Diego Milito, it's true, your boy, Diego Milito just won the treble with Inter. So on paper, but as a team, not so much. And like you said, 2014, everything. You had a coach, and I love Sabella, rest in peace. You had a coach in Sabella who knew the team's limitations, because if you look at that back line, if you look at Argentina's back line, he turned Rojo into world class. Garay, in my opinion,
was immense.
He was huge. He wasn't afraid. Federico Fernandez in the qualifiers, then he switched it. Then he replaced him with Demichelis. And Zabaleta is a worker, but no one, and I love Pablo, but I don't think anyone would really look at Pablo and say he's world class. He's in the same, as Zanetti or some of the others. No, but Sabella took that back line, made it work. He took the midfield. It was amazing. And obviously, like you said, we peaked. In my opinion, Argentina peaked twice. The first one was versus Belgium in the quarterfinals. I thought they played very well, and the second time was the final. But obviously, the final, it happened.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and and now it's if you look at this Argentina team, if we're being very honest, Seba, and I want you guys in the chat as well. If I'm wrong, tell me, Roy, you're wrong. If you look at this Argentina team right now, aside from Lionel Messi, who is world class?
yeah. That is a good point. I don't think Agüero is. I don't think he's
Not anymore.
He's no longer world class in terms of, he's probably not at a very good fitness level. If he gets to a good fitness level and he can play 90 minutes, he hasn't been playing 90 minutes for I don't know how long. Maybe he found a new life in Barcelona, but at the moment, no, you can put him on form. He's not in the top 10 of the best players in the world right now. It's a good point. It's a good point. Probably we'll see. We'll see if Emiliano Martinez can become
Maybe
that sort of a world-class keeper.
Yeah.
Romero as well. Not at the moment, but not at the moment. Yeah.
Not yet. And this is not a knock, and you're going to see where I'm going with this, because I'm not saying that aside from Messi, we don't have world class, we're not going to win. No, because if you look at this team and you look at the team from 2019, it's not that different. Yeah. It was a very similar midfield. The back line, okay, was slightly different because you had Otamendi and I can't even remember who the other center back was. I think it was Pezzella in 2019. Yeah. But it was the same thing, and 2019 was down to luck. So maybe if Scaloni could just get this team to gel, because they are gelling to a certain degree, but if he can get them just that confidence up a little bit and get that first win, you don't need a team full of world-class players. You mentioned, Seba, you mentioned Italy. Italy has maybe one world-class, two, like they have a couple, sure, more than Argentina, but it's not like an all-star team like France where Kante and Griezmann and Mbappe and Giroud, or maybe not Giroud as much, but Pogba, or Pavard or
they have like their fifth. Yeah, their fifth center back is better than any of our center backs, and he's never going to play. So they have. It's an embarrassment of riches, as they say. And you know who always have a better team than individuals? Uruguay.
Uruguay. There you go.
That is probably the best example, and they have been doing it for ages. In 2010, they reached the semifinals. They were amazing in that moment. Obviously, they have Suarez, world class, but then. It's not like you can pick many Uruguayans and say, these are the best in the world. No. But they play good as a team. Yeah. Probably they have one advantage. Oscar Tavares has been their manager since 1902. I think the first time we played Uruguay, he was the manager already.
So I think Tavares has been coaching Uruguay, I think, since before Cristian Romero was born.
Wasn't he the manager for
in 1990,
Uruguay in 1990? Yeah,
1990.
I think he left in between. There were a couple of times he wasn't the manager, because I remember Passarella was the manager, Victor Pua. They had a couple of other managers, but then they always go back to Tavares. They always go back to El Maestro. I really like him. I think he's a very, very good person, great manager. I just hope he doesn't win tomorrow, but apart from that, I really like him. Yeah.
Another comment, and actually, I don't say this often because me and Paulo don't necessarily see eye to eye. But by the way, Seba, you're a Flamengo fan, right?
I am. Yeah, I like. Yeah, when I was living in Brazil, I lived in Brazil, and I went to see Flamengo with my friends from work. Really, I like it. I like Flamengo. I'm a QPR fan in England, and Flamengo they have QPR have the away shirt is same as Flamengo. Yeah. So that's why I like Flamengo in first place.
Paulo's a Palmeiras fan, so I'll let you deal with that. There you go. But this is true actually. And this is pretty valid. But Paulo says another issue is that the players are leaving way younger than they used to. European and South American football is different. South American national teams are becoming more and more European, and I feel like you kind of see that a little bit in Argentina, maybe more than other countries, because the players are leaving at such a young age.
Yeah, I think it's I think it happens also for Uruguay, for Brazil, and now I'll tell you another thing. I was talking to a couple of friends. There was a thing that happened in Argentina in 2001, and I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about the country. The
Yeah.
whole financial
Economic
system
collapse.
collapsed. Yeah, and you couldn't withdraw money from the bank even if you had it. There was a complete depreciation of the Argentine peso. So it was just like a country going broke, bankrupt,
Hmm.
completely bankrupt. So now we're seeing, listen to this. Now we're seeing players that will play for Argentina, but they haven't been born in Argentina. They haven't even been to Argentina. They are the sons of the people that had to leave Argentina because they went looking for a job, looking for a
Wow.
better opportunity in life. They were in um, they were sons or grandsons of Italian people or Spanish people that came to Argentina. It's a
Hmm.
country with a big history of immigration, particularly from Italy and from Spain. So, like myself, I am 44 years old. I have three of my grandparents are coming from Italy, and the other one is coming from Spain. And most of the people, at least in Buenos Aires and in the major cities in Argentina, have blood line going back to Europe. So now, uh, when 2001 happened, there was the reverse immigration. So a lot of people went from
Yeah.
Argentina to Italy and to Spain to find jobs to live there. And they had kids. They were good at football. They started playing for teams in Spain or Italy, and now they have an Argentine passport and they want to play for Argentina. Like one example that comes to mind is Luca Romero, this wonder kid playing in
Yeah.
Spain. He will play for Argentina, but will likely never play in an Argentine pitch or for an Argentine club in his life. It happened with Messi as well, in a
Yeah.
way. You
Yeah.
see, he was playing in the youth teams for News Old Boys, but went to
Well,
Spain when he was
Buendia.
13.
Emiliano
Buendia
Buendia.
is another example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will see there's a term called corralito, which means the little corral,
Yeah.
because it refers to that situation in which you were trapped, you couldn't get money. That was the term that we use. So now you will see the corralito generation in the future, uh, providing players for the national team, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be
Yeah.
crazy. There's
No.
Gio Reyna was also eligible to play for Argentina,
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
Ipsy.
He played in the United
um,
States for the United States now.
course,
Um,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's
so
different.
you're
I
gonna
mean,
see
like
a
you
lot
said.
of cases. There's a lot of
Yeah.
players in the youth teams for Italian clubs that will definitely choose to play for Argentina, and they're gonna be great. And I don't see anything wrong in terms of them being completely adapted to the European way of playing, because that's the dominant at the moment.
It's a positive.
It's yeah. So I mean, yeah, I get the question and I get the point about losing the identity of playing in the streets barefooted, finding all these players with amazing skills.
Hmm.
But I don't think we will ever lose that. I don't think we'll ever
No,
lose that.
the identity of Argentine football. No, I don't believe so.
So as long as we have that and we cope it with physical preparation and all the things that they do in Europe with the players, I think it could work in our advantage in a
Yeah.
way. So
I hope so. I'll be honest, and I know it's kind of related to what we're talking about. And this is going to sound very blasphemous, and I don't want this to happen anytime soon at all. But I think we're still very much Messi dependent, despite the fact that, yes, maybe other players are trying to create and stuff. But I think it's when Messi fully retires from the national team that we're going to, I'm not going to say go back to that identity, but we're going to go back maybe to that overall team play and less of the reliance on Messi. But I think we're still a couple of years. Hopefully, we're still a couple of
yeah,
years away from that.
yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah. It's the second time you mention Messi's retirement in one of these videos. I hope there's not a third.
um,
I can't take it.
I'm gonna block the comments from the video, Seba. I'm gonna block the comments.
Yeah.
There was a comment earlier. Amani asked, "Where's the match going to be played?" The match is going to be played in Brasilia, so it's not going to be in Rio. It's going to be in Brasilia, and hopefully we're able to get something. And I'm not going to end this on a negative note regarding Messi, so we're going to go to a comment. I pray that Messi can win at least one international trophy. He deserves one. I hope so. I truly hope so, because I think he has this one and most likely just the next World Cup to get it done. And I don't know which one's more difficult.
There's no other player who deserves it more than him. I mean, for everything that he did, for all the kids that he inspired, for all the effort that he put, for all the critics that he had to stand. He even took Barcelona to the TAS, the Court of Arbitration, to be able to go to an Olympic Games and win it. And so that was good that he won it. But this is a guy who has been in Spain since he was 13, and he's not talking like a Spanish person. He speaks as if he was still in Rosario all these years after. And he keeps trying. He keeps trying over and over and over. And he just mentioned it last week. He will continue to try. He will continue to make himself available for every national team manager that would like to call him. I mean, really, really humble. I mean, he was saying, if the manager wants to call me, I mean, we should call him until he's 51 if he wants. I mean,
have him on the bench.
Yeah, just call him. I mean, who cares? Nobody uses the number 23rd, the 23rd player on the list. What a woohoo! Sorry, I'm watching Colombia. Almost. That was a bicycle kick.
So that was a bicycle kick. with a cross in, and good save by Venezuela.
Look at this, chested down, bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted because it was
it's okay.
Great
move. Another good save.
Yeah,
but anyways, let's go back to this. Back to the match tomorrow. Predictions for the match, Seba, and what do you guys think? Predictions for the match tomorrow. Let me know in the chat. Seba, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, prediction. My blood pressure is gonna go up. That's the only prediction that I have. I don't like. You know me. I don't like to play these prediction games.
Okay, no score prediction. No score prediction. What one thing you expect will happen at least?
No. My prediction will be a draw. Okay. I just think this team needs a little bit more time. I would just hope that they contradict me, but I think it's more likely to be a draw. Maybe especially because Uruguay will want it that way. We'll try to play a close game. We'll try to hit us in the counter-attack, and I hope we are prepared for that. Paulo says 3-0 to Uruguay. Yeah, good luck to you, to your boys as well. Oh my God! Who invited this guy? I mean, you invited this guy? I mean, this is Mundo Albiceleste. This is not Mundo Verde Amarelo. What are you doing, Paulo?
No. Because we spoke today, and I told him before hanging up. I was smart. Before hanging up, I told him I'll call you after we win the Copa, and he started laughing. He said, "Okay, whatever." And he hung up. He said,
I see some negativity in the comments. Everybody's saying Uruguay will win.
No one is that positive. Not, Theo here. He mentions Argentina just need to win by any goal. It's true. You just need that one, that one match, that one goal to get over the hump. Chicken Wizard. Come on, Chicken Wizard.
When Theo said we need to score by any goal, did he mean like a handball even?
Unfortunately, that won't count. There's VAR.
There's VAR.
Yeah, there's VAR. But going through the comments, though, a lot of people, it's when it was Argentina versus Chile, a lot of people said 2-0 Argentina or 2-1 Argentina. Here we're getting a bit of mix. We're getting 1-1s. We're getting 1-0 Uruguay. We're getting 2-1 Argentina. I do agree with you, Seba, in that I think Uruguay will try to play for a draw because on paper for Uruguay this is the most difficult match of the group. and it's their first match. So for them to get a draw versus Argentina and then versus Paraguay, versus Bolivia, versus Chile to go for the win, I think for them is much more realistic. And they know that kind of, technically Argentina cannot afford another draw. And they might try and hit us on the counter, like you mentioned. And that's having Uruguay on the counter with Otamendi in the form that he's in scares me.
Yeah, this is a tournament. One of the comments actually mentioned it. We need to finish in the top 2 of the group to avoid Brazil until the very end, because the tournament it's designed for it to happen, for Argentina and Brazil not to cross their path very early in the competition. And it's a very good point. And if we lose this one, we are at risk of not getting into the top 2, because we already dropped points against Chile. If we happen to drop points against Paraguay as well, after
then we're in trouble.
A loss against, then we're in big trouble. So probably a draw is not necessarily the end of the world. Of course, I will hope for something better than that, but that's the importance of this game. That's why I didn't want a rival like this. But the beauty of it could be a nice,
it could work.
A nice surprise to win it. No, I wouldn't say surprise, but a nice present
gift
for all of us.
Exactly. And like Theo mentioned, exactly to your point, Seba, if Argentina win tomorrow, we'll not only get the 3 important points, but it will boost the energy and the confidence of the team. So it's a win here is worth more than the 3 points, essentially.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And on that note, this is it. Any final words, Seba? Tomorrow.
Just try not to invite Paulo for the next
video.
No,
at all.
Let me know first. Otherwise,
I'll block him.
No, I'm joking. Very welcome. And no, thanks to all the comments that we've been getting, all the people watching this live. Hopefully there will be more watching later, because there's a lot of people sleeping at the moment.
Yeah, different time zones.
Absolutely. So I hope tomorrow. Sorry, this is live. You go.
So MN is asking, will you guys be live after the game? Talking about live, I will be. I think Seba, you said you will be as well. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's Friday night. Yeah, absolutely.
Friday. What better way than to spend the Friday? I can't think of any other possible better way to spend a Friday night than after an Argentina win, after the 3 points versus Uruguay, then with the one and only Seba Garcia, and obviously you guys as well. Love you guys. On that note, my prediction is 1-0 Argentina. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to say we get the clean sheet. 1-0, Emiliano Martinez with a big save. Hopefully I'm correct. Hopefully I'm right.
Nice.
And we get the win. Frozer says 2-0. Footy Room says 2-1. Messi and Martinez to score. We'll see. We're going to get to that tomorrow immediately. Well, maybe just right after the match. A little bit of a delay. But we will be live tomorrow. And this is it. Bring it home. So, my name is Roy Nimmer of Mundo Albiceleste. I was joined by the living legend himself, the one and only Sebastian Garcia, and by the absolute best fans in the world, you guys here, everyone in the chat. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you guys want to support and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? It's Copa America season. And we got a Messi hat-trick here comment as well. I'd love to see that. So, Roy Nimmer, Sebastian Garcia.
Yes. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, guys. Have